Welcome back, my dear audience. Embark on a thrilling adventure through the ancient realms of Azeroth. Our journey begins in the mysterious depths of Uldaman, where the earthen and mechagnomes have long guarded hidden secrets and solitude. Discover the untold stories of their alliance beneath the icy mountains, setting the stage for the rise of the ingenious gnomes. Venture with me into the cold mountains, where the gnomes crafted a legacy of technological triumphs in Dun Morogh. Meet the new significant Warlord Thoradin of Arathor, who emerges as a beacon of hope, uniting disparate human tribes to face the looming threat of the Amani trolls. As alliances are forged, the troll wars unfold, casting a shadow over the fate of Quel'Thalas. Feel the tension build as we approach the siege of Quel'Thalas, where humans, elves, and magic collide in a breathtaking showdown. Brace yourself for the fire from the heavens, a cataclysmic event that will test the limits of bravery and resilience. Don't forget to subscribe my channel for more legendary tales from the world of Azeroth. Join me as we delve into the heart of this fantastical world, where history is written in the clash of swords. Welcome to the new episode. We are beginning right now. During wars and the rise of new civilizations on Azeroth's surface, the earthen mostly kept to themselves, not bothering with the activities of other races. Some earthen stayed isolated under the icy mountains of Northrend. Others, who came south with keeper Quel'Thalas and giantess Ironea in an earlier age, slept in the catacomb vaults of Uldaman. Only a few of these earthen chose not to go into stasis, deciding to watch over and maintain the facility with their mechagnome companions. During this time, Quel'Thalas and Ironea distanced themselves from their servants, becoming obsessed with curing the curse of flesh. They often retreated to the lowest chambers of Uldaman, spending years in quiet contemplation. Eventually, the two colossal titan forged disappeared from sight, settling into a long period of hibernation. Centuries passed without word from either of them, leaving the mechagnomes and earthen to manage Uldaman on their own. When the sundering tore through Azeroth, many active earthen were affected, feeling the pain of the broken world as their own. They tunneled deep within Uldaman and locked themselves away in the hibernation chambers alongside their sleeping brethren. The only ones left to keep an eye on the facility were the mechagnomes. Unfortunately, they also fell victim to the curse of flesh. Many of them degenerated into fleshy beings eventually known as gnomes. Physically and mentally weakened, these creatures lost their sense of purpose and left the halls of Uldaman, escaping into the nearby mountain peaks and caverns. Only a few mechagnomes remained in the facility, compelled by their titan-forged imperative. The initial generation of gnomes established a life in the snowy mountains to the west of Uldaman. Despite lacking natural strength and defenses, they preserved their natural intellect and cleverness. These fragile gnomes faced challenges surviving in the harsh elements, confronting barbaric ice trolls, and dealing with other threats. Over the passing generations, gnomes committed themselves to technological progress and exploration, viewing these as their sole ways of surviving in the wild new world. In pursuit of this goal, gnomes refrained from record-keeping and oral storytelling, considering them irrelevant to their survival. Within just a few generations, the gnomes completely forgot their titan-forged heritage. Nevertheless, what they acquired was a brand new society. Their clever engineering and scientific innovations assisted them in overcoming numerous challenges. The gnomes constructed a set of strongly fortified residences deep within the cold mountains, later recognized as Dun Morogh. Over thousands of years, humanity thrived in the eastern kingdoms. This fledgling race had originated from a group of Vrykul, who had settled in terraceful glades. Although humans were smaller and less powerful than their progenitors, they possessed remarkably strong willpower and survival instincts. Various groups of hunter-gatherer humans spread throughout the forests and hills of the continent. As their society evolved, humans formed different tribes, each practicing animistic beliefs, primarily crude forms of druidism and elemental shamanism. Despite the presence of Amani trolls, high elves and other potential threats, humanity's primary adversary turned out to be itself. The early tribes were in constant conflict with each other over land and consequently power. One tribe, the Arathi, recognized the folly of their ways. Troll incursions into human territories had become more pronounced and ruthless over a few decades. Something was changing among the brutish Amani to the north. The Arathi understood that if humankind remained divided, it would have little chance against a true war with its moss-skinned foes. Led by Warlord Thoradin, the tribe embarked on a campaign to unite its rivals under a single banner, whether by force or diplomacy. The Arathi, located on the northeastern borders of human lands, had a long history of skirmishes with the trolls. This experience had molded Thoradin into a master tactician and strategist. In just 6 years, the warlord brought the other tribes under his control. Some adversaries were won over through political marriages, others were manipulated against each other, and some of the more belligerent tribes were outright conquered by the shrewd warlord. Contrary to the expectations of those he had defeated, Thoradin did not rule as a tyrant. He offered peace and equality, envisioning a glorious new human nation, a united kingdom with limitless potential. The tribal leaders were not marginalized, instead, they became honored generals. With these gestures, Thoradin earned the loyalty of his former enemies and was crowned king. King Thoradin named his new kingdom Arathor. He tasked his most skilled builders with constructing a mighty capital called Strom, southeast of Terraceful Glades. The semi-arid terrain around the city served as an ideal buffer zone between humanity and the Amani, preventing the trolls from launching their feared forest ambushes. Thoradin also ordered the construction of a great wall near the capital to further protect against Amani incursions. Word of Strom's strength quickly spread among other scattered human tribes across the continent, and many sought refuge in the fortress. As Thoradin anticipated, Amani trolls soon began encroaching on the outlying lands, controlled by humans. The king dispatched 2 of his most distinguished generals to gather intelligence on their enemies and intercept any trolls who ventured too far into Arathor's borders. One of Thoradin's favored generals was named Ingenious, hailing from the rugged slopes around the Alterac Mountains. Despite being deemed uncouth and savage by many humans from other regions, Ingenious and his Northlanders were unmatched in bravery and strength. They patrolled well beyond Arathor's borders, hunting down any trolls lurking in the woodlands, earning Ingenious the name Trollbane for the amount of Amani blood he spilled. Thoradin's other trusted general was Lordain from the heart of Terraceful Glades. His regimented warriors, considered more refined than Ingenious and the mountain folk, thoroughly patrolled Arathor's northern borders. Lordain's forces swiftly dealt with Amani raiding parties that approached the kingdom. Both Lordain and Ingenious often returned to Strom with tales of a brewing conflict between the Amani and the High Elves to the north. Whispers circulated of voodoo rituals and supernatural beings in the darkened forests. Despite the unsettling reports, Thoradin and his generals chose not to risk their people or offer aid to the High Elves. They kept their forces behind Strom's massive ramparts, confident in their ability to withstand any foe. Millennia after their defeat by the High Elves, the Amani trolls plotted revenge within their temple city of Uldaman. Despite being fierce warriors, internal strife and a lack of strong leadership threatened to destroy the tribe. The Amani's fortunes soon changed when they received aid from the revered Zandalar tribe. The Zandalari, considering themselves protectors and spiritual leaders of all trolls, aimed to revitalize troll societies across Azeroth, including the Amani. Eager to reassert troll dominance in the eastern kingdoms, the Zandalari were confident in overwhelming the High Elves. They saw an opportunity as Quel'Thalas was not as powerful as the ancient Night Elf Empire that had decimated the Trolls long ago. The Zandalari had also honed their voodoo arts over millennia. Wise Zandalari emissaries journeyed to Uldaman, promising help in planning the impending conflict. Crucially, they ensured the aid of mighty Loa demigods for the Trolls. To settle leadership matters, the Zandalari appointed Jinna, one of the Amani's fearless warriors, as the ruler. Small Amani warbands emerged from the forests, testing the High Elf's strength by attacking Quel'Thalas' borders. The cunning Trolls concealed their true numbers and capabilities. After successful skirmishes, the Amani decided it was time for all-out war. Small Amani warbands began emerging from the forests and attacking Quel'Thalas' borders, testing the High Elf's strength. Always, the cunning Trolls hid their true numbers and capabilities. After a series of successful skirmishes, the Amani decided that the time for all-out war had finally come. Without warning, tens of thousands of troll fighters exploded from the shadowy forests. Monstrous Loa demigods marched alongside the Amani, infusing their troll adherents with supernatural might. The High Elves struggled to hold back the onslaught, forced to give ground. With astonishing speed and ferocity, the Amani laid waste to Quel'Thalas' outer territories. From Uldaman, the Zandalari emissaries observed the unfolding war with pleasure. The might of the Amani, combined with their voodoo arts, proved overwhelming, even for the High Elves and their potent arcane powers. The Trolls' ultimate victory seemed inevitable, only a matter of time. King Thoradin closely monitored the escalating war between the High Elves and the Trolls. Scouts returned with tails of smoke rising along Quel'Thalas' borders, and brutalized elven corpses in the Northlands. Despite the Trolls' apparent victory, Thoradin hesitated to intervene, fearing unnecessary risk for his people. However, Thoradin's perspective shifted when High Elven ambassadors arrived at Strom. They shared first-hand accounts of the Amani's brutality, and the otherworldly demigods supporting them. The Amani posed a greater threat than anticipated, and the High Elves argued that without Arathor's assistance, Quel'Thalas would fall, followed by an Amani assault on Strom. Thoradin consulted with his advisors, recognizing the need for an alliance with the Elves. Knowing they lacked the forces for an open conflict, they concluded that learning magic might give them the edge. Despite Thoradin's suspicion of sorcery, he offered the High Elves a deal: military aid in exchange for teaching humans magic. The High Elves dispatched messengers to consult with King Anasterion. Like all of his kind, he knew well the dangers of unchecked magic. Teaching the arcane arts to humans could easily lead to disaster. Much as this possibility troubled Anasterion, his own people were facing extinction. Knowing he had little choice, he agreed that the High Elves would tutor 100 humans in the rudimentary ways of magic. Before long, elven mages journeyed to Strom, and hastily began their mentorship of humans. Over the course of many months, the tutors observed something remarkable in their students. Although the humans lacked grace and subtlety in their castings, they possessed a startling natural affinity to magic. Meanwhile, Thoradin ordered his generals to establish a stronghold at the base of the Uldaman Mountains. This would act as a staging point for their future offensive against the Trolls. Thoradin's generals also erected other crude forts in the Eastweald, a large stretch of fertile foothills east of Tirisful Glades. However, Uldaman Fortress would remain the humans' most important northern holding. Once the Elves had finished tutoring the human mages, Arathor began its offensive. Over 20,000 human soldiers gathered at Uldaman Fortress. From there, Thoradin himself led his forces toward Quel'Thalas. He did not, however, bring the human mages with him. they would remain behind the walls of Alterac. If things progressed as Thoradin hoped, the mages would play a part later in the war. Generals Ingenious and Lordain served as Arathor's vanguard, riding ahead of the Arathi host to clear the way north, eliminating troll scouts and raiding parties. After weeks of relentless marching, Arathor's full military force reached the outskirts of Quel'Thalas, striking the southern flank of the Amani. The High Elves, coordinated with the Arathi, launched a counterattack from the north, devastating the trolls' front lines. The Amani, caught between the two forces, now faced the challenge of fighting a war on two fronts. Despite the challenges, Gintha remained confident in the Amani trolls' victory. He viewed the elves' decision to ally with the primitive humans as an act of desperation. While the Arathi were known as fierce warriors, Gintha believed they lacked the magical abilities and battle discipline of the elves. To him, the crude humans were a minor nuisance, one he planned to swiftly eliminate. Determined to crush Arathor's armies, Gintha directed his warbands south to eradicate the humans. His intent was to then refocus his forces on Quel'Thalas and exterminate the elves once and for all. Following Thoradin's orders, the humans initiated a slow retreat back toward Alterac. Weeks of brutal and bloody fighting ensued as the overconfident Amani chased Arathor's armies into the mountains. As the humans moved south, the High Elves emerged from Quel'Thalas, marching for Alterac. They consistently harassed the northern flank of the Amani, gradually wearing down the trolls' rear guard. Upon reaching Alterac Fortress, Thoradin was pleased to discover that the Amani were still in pursuit. He prepared his forces for the imminent attack. One foggy morning in the Alterac foothills, the Amani descended upon the human army. Despite being outnumbered, the Arthi fought back with unexpected tenacity. The battle raged on for days, with neither side giving ground. Soon, the High Elves arrived from the north, launching a second front against the Amani. When the humans and elves believed they had sufficiently weakened the Amani, they unveiled their secret weapon: the 100 human mages. Throughout the recent days of fighting, Thoradin had concealed them within Alterac Fortress, and now it was time to put their abilities to the test. Collaborating with the elven sorcerers, the human mages harnessed their vast newfound powers. Instead of launching individual attacks, the mages did something unprecedented. They pooled their power and crafted a single, devastating spell. The Alterac mountains quaked as torrents of fire cascaded from the blood-red sky. The energies enveloped the Amani ranks in a scorching conflagration, burning Loa and Troll alike from the inside out. Gintha was among the first of the Amani consumed in the enchanted flames. Without their leader, the surviving trolls scattered and retreated north. The elves and humans pursued them relentlessly, slaughtering every Amani combatant they could find. The disastrous battle left the Zandalari emissaries in shock. Once confident of victory, they slinked back to their island home in disbelief and shame. For them, the defeat marked a dark turning point in troll history, one from which their beleaguered race might never recover. For Quel'Thalas and Arathor, the war signaled the beginning of a glorious new era. For months after the conflict's end, celebrations adorned the streets of Strom and Silvermoon City. The grateful elves pledged their undying loyalty to Arathor and to Thoradin's descendants. Thank you for embarking on this incredible journey through Azeroth's rich history with me. From the depths of Uldaman to the technological wonders of Dun Morogh, and the epic saga of Arathor and the Troll Wars, we've uncovered legendary tales that shaped the very fabric of this fantastical world. As we conclude this chapter, remember to share, like and subscribe to keep the adventure alive. Don't miss out on future episodes where we explore more hidden secrets, epic battles, and magical wonders of Azeroth. Stay connected with our community in the comments below. Share your favorite moments, theories, and the stories you'd love to explore in future videos. Your input is what makes this journey truly legendary. Thank you for being a part of this incredible quest. Until next time, may your adventures be filled with wonder, and I wish you beautiful Christmas time.